Governor Healy signing such amendment into law in March of 2023, expressing certain provisions of the open meeting law. This public meeting of the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can access this meeting while in progress by Zoom Video Communications, Inc. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by telephone, cell phone, or personal computer using Zoom. As always, some guidelines for participants. Please utilize the chat or raise hand function to address the board. Participants will remain on mute until they have been addressed by the board, and participants are required to display first and last names. That said, by tradition, we will start with a roll call of present members. I am Brian Barabee.
Paul Branwald.
Sue Mitra.
Jim Garrity.
All right, excellent. First up this evening, sorry, just checking my notes real quick. All right, so the Conservation Commission will now open the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss a request for determination of applicability for 57 Bolton Woods Way. Lauren, is the applicant or a rep for the applicant here this evening?
Yes, Harvey Florman is the applicant. He's here tonight.
Mr. Florman, would you mind walking us quickly through what you are proposing?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we would like to put a hot tub in our backyard. We want it directly adjacent to the deck. So our property borders on the Annie Woods Conservation Area. And so where we want to place the hot tub is approximately 75 feet from the end of our property line. It's probably about 30 feet from the 200-foot river protection zone. So it's outside of both of those, but I wanted to get permission to do this project. So the project will involve, our backyard is sloped, so it will involve flattening out a piece of land and putting a retaining wall against the slope. That'll be done, if permission is given, by Dave's Landscaping in Hudson. They will haul away all the dirt. There'll be nothing placed in Annie Moore's conservation land.
Okay. Just trying to see. I'm sorry. I'm
Brian, I can
through...
share the plans if you'd like. The photos.
That I would appreciate that. I was just looking through the folder.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there's all my stuff.
So just to note, we don't have a delineation on file for this, but our GIS, the public GIS on our website show that this is the riverfront area right here. That's 200 foot.
That's the 200 foot.
And our bylaw is per 225 feet, just to note for the commission. And so this is a photo, 8 by 10 feet area to be leveled. And this shows the sloped area and where the retaining wall might go.
So, like, could you scroll back up to the
Sure.
One more actually. All right, 75.
So that's 75 feet from the property line.
Yep.
Right.
And that's the regrade down towards, right? That's going to be where it's going to be flattened at the end of the hot tub basically, and then regraded down. It's probably a 3-to-1 slope, something like that, or a 2-to-1. I'm trying to think what they usually use. And most of it looks like it's existing lawn now. What's the length of the retaining wall?
Probably about, can you still hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, probably. So the hot tub will extend out from the house 5 feet, and the retaining wall will be 6 feet.
And it basically just runs along the side of the deck there and the hot tub, or runs
Right.
along.
Right. So the retaining wall will be perpendicular to the deck, and it will secure that slope, and the hot tub will be directly parallel to the deck.
Okay. Let's see. Lauren, could you scroll down just one picture? Sorry. Okay, there's edge. Let's flex that comes in. All right. I don't think I have any additional questions right now. It's one that I'd probably like to go out on a site visit for, just to see what this looks like in the field.
Okay.
And would probably ask you if you could just stake out where the hot tub's going to be, and where the retaining wall will end.
So
And
so I
go
work
ahead.
from home. So
Yep.
anytime you want to come by, I'm probably here.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay. And again, I'll see if other commission members agree, but let me open it up to them to see if there's any initial questions or other questions, comments, or thoughts from commission members.
So I'm trying to visualize the retaining walls. So you sort of flatten it out where the hot tub is, then you put the retaining wall to down to the ground. So the slope itself will probably not really change, right, from the end of the wall. Is that the
Correct.
plan, or will you build it up more?
No. Our intention is to only secure the slope. And so there'll be no landscaping except for that one retaining wall to keep to keep the ground from sliding down.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, understood. Thanks.
Other comments, questions, thoughts from commission members? I see none. Any members of the public here tonight to comment on this particular hearing? Again, seeing none. All right. So, Mr. Floorman, with your permission, we're going to just continue this to our next meeting. And then in between, then try to get out on site, organize a time where we can get as many commission members as we can to come out and just take a look.
Sure.
I want to let me put it out to commission members again. I'd love it if you could just flag out where the the level area for the hot tub will be, and like the extent of the retaining wall. If you can just have that kind of marked in the backyard somehow. It's difficult to mark the wetland. We can probably try to confirm that on site, but basically where the extent of the hot tub flat area where it's going to start to taper down is, that would be great to see. Is there
Okay.
anything else commission members would want to see marked out? Okay.
No.
All right. In that case, Lauren, our first opening next meeting still 7 o'clock.
Yes, and the next meeting is 3 weeks from now on October 7th.
10/7. Okay. All right. All right. So in that case, I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the request for determination of applicability for 57 Bolton Woods Way until our next public meeting, October 7th, 2025 at 7 o'clock p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Jim,
Hello, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, I'm still trying to figure out how to get into this meeting. I don't know, it wants like 5 passwords and I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, but
You're in the meeting.
okay. So
Okay. So Lauren, on this one, I'm an aye as well to continue.
Okay, and actually Sam, I believe, joined. Are you here, Sam?
I'm here. Hey, Brian. Hey, guys.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey, Sam.
Sam, are you an aye as well?
I am an I as well. Sorry, Lauren.
Okay, thank you. And Harvey, I will reach out tomorrow to coordinate a time for a site visit.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
All right, is that it for me?
Yep,
That,
that's it
that
for
is
you.
it. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Have a good night.
Same to you all.
Bye.
All right. Thomas, we're good. So next up this evening, the Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing for a notice of intent. The Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, discussing the notice of intent submitted for 75 Hudson Road, the Scout Camp. Lauren, when last we met, we had not yet heard back from DEP. Have we heard anything from DEP yet?
No, we still don't have a file number or comments, and the applicant sent a letter this afternoon requesting a continuation to the next meeting.
Yeah. So as we await DEP comments, I'm assuming there are no issues with continuing. So I will. I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 75 Hudson Road until our next public meeting, Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 at 7:10 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam.
I.
And Lauren, I'm an I as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. While we have 30 seconds. In your packet, you should have seen minutes for our September 23rd, September 2nd meeting, right? My notes. Yes. If people have had a chance to look through the minutes, any edits, corrections, or changes, if people haven't had a chance to look through the minutes, does anybody need more time to read through them? Seeing no one, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our September 2nd, 2025 meeting as drafted and posted at this evening's meeting. Do I hear a second for minutes approval?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam.
I.
And Lauren, I'm an I as well. And right on time. All right. The Bolton Conservation Commission will now open the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss a notice of intent filed for 433 Still River Road. Lauren, is the applicant or rep for the applicant here this evening?
I see that the applicant, Scott Gear, is in the meeting tonight.
All right.
And the engineer.
And the engineer. So you have both
Okay.
owners, myself and Marilyn, and then the engineer is here as well.
That is excellent. Do you want to, or have the engineer want either of you want to walk us through the project?
I'll have the engineer start, and then we can probably circle around with any more personalized kind of questions you may have.
Sure.
Okay. Did you want me to kick it off?
Please.
Sure. Do you want me to share screen or?
That would be excellent.
Have I got permission to share?
Yes, you do.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, for the record, my name's Margaret Bacon. I'm a licensed engineer and a professional wetland scientist, and I'm also the owner of Civil Site Engineering. And I'm here representing the Gears, who are also in attendance, and we're requesting a permit to add a proposed addition onto an existing house. And as you can see here in the plan, everything is red is what is going to be proposed. So we're proposing an addition on the side of the house, I believe for his elderly parents or parent. In this addition here, this project here was permitted back in 2015. And at that time, this proposed addition was approved, but it just didn't get built. And then since then, obviously, the regulations have changed. So they would like to do that, add a porch to the front of that, and connect a deck in the back from the new addition to the house. And then they would also like to build an in-ground pool in the backyard here. And this is all lawn area. And then over here on the side here, they'd like to put in a smaller little shed. And what we've done here, since we, as you can see, the whole property is surrounded by wetlands in green. Blue is the 100-year floodplain. We do have riverfront area. I flagged the riverfront. It's further off. Let me see if I can move out a little. It's further off to the riverfront area is way over here. I did go out there and flag the entire thing, and we did locate it. And then I have the 100-foot and the 200-foot riverfront area, and I just realized you have 225-foot riverfront area. But that still wouldn't affect anything except for maybe that little shed here. And then we did do some stormwater mitigation up here by the proposed in-ground pool. In addition, all roof runoff will run into that. Let me just get to the slide to the bigger one. Yeah, so here's a little basin, and in the NOI packet, I designed it for the 25-year storm. Figured that was more than adequate to treat roof runoff in an effort to, obviously infiltrate what we've created. And then we also sent the notice of intent to Natural Heritage because this is rare species habitat. I believe it's the blanding turtle. And when this house was constructed, there were some areas that were fenced off and were no disturb areas. And that's that area in the back here.
Okay. And wow, initial questions. So I'm trying to think, was anybody else on the commission when this was permitted? Other than I know Lori was, but she's not on with us tonight.
No, I'm sorry. I just joined. What property is this one?
This is 443 Still River Road. This is the one I believe shares the border with Harvard, right? It's that last lot. It's the one where they tried to put in the 40B.
Correct. Yeah, we were this is all history that we were unfamiliar with when we purchased the property.
Correct.
So,
yeah, no, I totally would
been...
understand that. I bring that up. Basically, it's so Lori and I think Lori would be familiar. I'm very familiar with the property. I'm very familiar with what went on back then. That went on for a very long time. One of the things I would say is, well, if we were to move forward, this would, again, I'm one commission member, but I would strongly recommend to my fellow commission members that this would be a peer-reviewed site. There's a lot of questions about where those waterways are, not just the ones on the side of the property with the driveway, but the other side of the property and also the back of the property. And are they perennial streams? Are they intermittent streams? So much was argued over this that we're not going off an old ANRAD at all. Like, we would want this fully peer reviewed for where the actual resource areas are and where they come in. I saw the maps in the pack, and I was like, I still remember I had notes on this thing. It looks like you already have an unpermitted driveway extension. It looks like there's a turnaround where the road that was never permitted, because that basically is is now within the 30-foot no touch, where that driveway is extended out of. So that's something I think we'd want to see removed, regardless of how this moves forward. I would try to incorporate that into plans or mitigation for that, but I don't think that was ever permitted.
So that's just rocks.
Okay.
We
And
just-
again,
we
but
just
it's
laid- we
within
just
the
laid some rocks
30-foot
there.
no touch zone. That if I remember, the end of the driveway came right up to the resource area when it was
And it's
25
not over
foot.
the
Now
fence.
it's 30 foot. I could be wrong though. I'm fairly, I could be wrong, but just one of the things I noticed when I was first looking at the plans and then trying to remember what everything that happened with this site and all the questions. And again, I understand the homeowners know none of this history or didn't know any of this history to begin with. But there were a lot of,
what was explained to us was the no touch was at the fence and beyond, that the fence was there forever and nothing could be done past that. That turnaround, which is not, as my wife pointed out, is not paved in any fashion, is inside the fence.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
no, I understand. But it wasn't pre-approved to be within that area. Even it was still buffer zone even if it was outside of the no touch. And now it's actually in the no touch. I think I could be totally wrong.
okay.
And again, it's something we can mitigate. If it's just rocks, it can probably easily be moved or removed, or be added on to a filing. That's just my initial thoughts on this property, knowing what I know of it. And then I know you said you had reached out to Natural Heritage. Have you heard back from them yet?
No, still waiting
Okay.
on them and also the DEP.
Yeah, and that was going to be my other question.
Yeah.
So just normally speaking, if we haven't heard from DEP or Natural Heritage, we'll normally just continue it until we at least hear comments from them, and try to schedule a site visit to go out there in the interim, which I'm happy to do. But again, I can put, if we go out in the field, we can take another look around and kind of see where the waterways lie, if anything's really recessed or changed much. But I really think this is a site we'd need to have peer reviewed. And again, I remember from the original hearings too, a lot of the neighbors were really concerned. The Historical Commission was very concerned. Natural Heritage was very concerned. And that's just throwing some history of this piece of property out there.
I know, but that bothers me because that means that you guys are coming into this with a bias, is what it feels like.
No, everything we're asking is based on actual in the field knowledge of this piece of property. We have the right to always ask for a peer review. Sometimes we can go out and we can see how things are marked in the field, and say, we agree with this delineation. We agree with how you marked it. But again, there was so much interest in this property from different groups, from different neighbors. And again, I'm not in a butter here. Like, these were the neighbors of the people who abut this property. The Historic Commission had a lot of concerns. Yeah, I can never get their name right, but the endangered species people had their concerns with this site. So what I'm saying is, this is one that I wouldn't necessarily just trust to my knowledge going out there and saying, yes, I think you've marked out the wetlands correctly. I agree with how you marked them. This is one I would say, look, I need an expert to come in and tell me if they agree with your markings. That's really all it is. Knowing the history of the project, it's not really a bias. It's just having actual knowledge of the property and community concerns surrounding it.
Who pays for the peer review?
The applicant pays for the peer review, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up right away. It seems like you're finding out a lot of history of the property. I was trying to give you a little bit more tonight. They were trying to do a lot more on this property. Everything we were reading and
Brian,
seeing was to try to limit space.
And we're not
the
trying.
amount of
I
lawn was
understand that, and
calculated to be
we're not those builders.
100%. I
And
100%
definitely
agree.
not trying to do that. We want to be cooperative, and
Yeah.
we're more than happy to overcompensate
No,
in the
I
environmental side. But yeah, I can't control what the other people did, and I can't control how that all played out. So we would just like to try to kind of clean the slate and approach this as a new project, not as a continued project.
Right. No, 100%. And that's why I'm just trying to be upfront with you. I completely get that. In any project like this, if we don't hear from DEP or Natural Heritage yet, we'll continue it until we do. What we try to do is set up a site visit in between. So it's not like we have to get comments and then set up a site visit. And again, I'm happy to do that because myself and Lori Stevenson might be the only two on the commission that are familiar with the property. So it would get other people out there. But I just bring up this because I just know in conditioning this project and everything we went through and all the back and forth as to where perennial streams were, if they were perennial versus intermittent, certain things were marked certain ways on an ANRAD. So we had to consider them. If it's on the ANRAD, we have to consider it intermittent stream, even if all the neighbors are saying it's perennial, and we think it's perennial. We're past that now. Like you said, that's all in the past. That's all gone. So now things that on your map here, you might be basing off of an intermittent stream, that might be classified a perennial stream, which totally throws all of your calculations. And I'm just trying to be upfront and let you know that that could very well be the case here, just based on my knowledge of this property and what's come up when it's been discussed in the past. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, are you talking about this stream over here that flows underneath Still River Road?
No, the other side of the property, complete other side.
So I know was discussions that over here could have possibly been a perennial stream?
I forget. There were questions about the classification. I think we thought it was intermittent. If I'm remembering correctly, it was dried up at the time, but people were questioning it. But the big one was the back of the property.
Yeah.
If you go to the back end, that I don't remember what that was marked, but that's clearly perennial, and I think it's on there as well too.
Yeah.
I just know there were a lot of questions that the neighbors brought up, that the neighbors want us to look into, asked others to look into. DEP had questions, Natural Heritage had questions. So it's a tough one for me to say, well, yeah, I think it's right as marked. I think we'd need somebody that has more expertise than we do.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Go ahead, please.
So for the purpose of, because this is not a new construction, you keep bringing up neighbors and the butters and other folks' concern. Is that still relevant to this situation?
Yeah. Yes. They were questioning on the ANRAD how certain waterways were marked, which is a very legitimate question. And as you know, you're a resident of Bolton. Everybody on this commission is a volunteer. We work for you. That if you say this person's not, this isn't true. You said this was intermittent, and I think it's perennial. Like, we will listen to you and come out there and check, and depending. So that's all it was really doing our due diligence and making sure that we had it marked properly.
No, and we're in full support of that, Brian. Like I said, we did things such as that in the solar panels. We're want the rain gardens are overcompensating. These are all the things that we're trying to do to try to offset so as not to disturb the natural environment that's there. So we're more than, if you need to come out, folks just need to let us know what that is, and we're happy to work with the commission.
All right, because that's what we'll try to do, is we'll try to set up a site visit between now and then. And again, like, I'm familiar with the property, but the majority of our commission members aren't. It'll be new to them to see.
My concern, Brian, is that I want you guys to come into this as like, as we are just like a single family home that's trying to add an addition for an elderly parent, and we are not like 10 units trying to cram into this one space, which is, I feel like, is what started this whole like negative attitude with this property.
Believe me, it's not negative. No, there was nothing. It's a gorgeous piece of property. It's just, we're here to protect resource areas, and this is a very, very, very resource-rich area. I think it's gorgeous. Like, I would love to have your side yards, your backyards. It's beautiful, but it's also very delicate. And that's all we're doing, is trying to protect that. All right. So I don't think I have any other additional questions, comments, thoughts right now, other than, without hearing from DEP and Natural Heritage, we would normally just continue this. But I want to open it up to commission members to see if there's any other initial comments, questions, or thoughts, or things that, people might want to see addressed if they go out into the field. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, so I was just going to say to the applicants, like, I don't know this property and I don't know the history of it. And as being a newer commission member, yeah, I'm going to come into the site and just look at how this plan affects the natural resources around it. So there's no other, old bias that I have. And I think that's true for some of the other members. I don't want to speak for anyone else who don't know the history of the site, because in our packets, I don't think the history of the site was included in our packet. So we don't have that information. So hopefully that helps. I don't think we're trying to keep you from, adding onto your home or building anything else. Totally understand wanting to make a home in your home for a parent. And we hope we can get you there.
Other comments, questions, thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Please.
did you say that an ANRAD was issued for the previous project?
I can't remember. I forget what they were going off of. If it was,
I thought when I talked to the agent earlier this summer, I thought they wanted one, but it wasn't filed, or I didn't think there was one.
it's weird. So and again, this is my recollection. Please don't take this as chapter and verse. This was not a long time ago, but we hear a lot of hearings. My recollection, it was originally filed as a single family home, similar what you had ended up with. And we were able to condition that, and we had offset. We had moved some things to kind of put it in like the least jurisdictional area we could, and that was fine. And then they basically came back and wanted to switch the plan to a 40B, and basically increase the footprint. And I can't remember if they were basing it off of the delineation we agreed to with the original single house and said, all right, this was agreed to for this site, for the single house. Now we want to do that. Now we want to do this. And because it's a 40B, we don't, we're trying to get through filing a new ANRAD or what. I honestly don't recall. I do know it was originally a single family home that we conditioned. Then there was that major switch to the project. It just ended up, they couldn't get a condition. Basically, they couldn't wedge it in the ways they were trying to, and switched it back to just, all right, we're going to go back to the original single family house plan that was approved. That's my recollection of the project. So I can't remember why they were trying to hold us to a certain delineation, or if they were going off maps, or if it was just that the neighbors were asking for something to be reclassified, and we basically couldn't. I honestly don't remember the exacts. I just know there were a lot of questions surrounding it, a lot of push back and forth, and they were basically going off something that they didn't think we had the ability to change.
Okay.
Yeah, so I apologize again. I don't remember it exactly. Please don't take this as chapter and verse.
No, I guess what I would like to suggest is that we have a site visit. And I'll go out there and spend a little more time over on the right-hand side there and take another look at what I thought was an intermittent stream. I didn't think that would qualify for a perennial, but I'll take another look at it. And then the only thing I'm hesitant regarding the additional peer review is the cost, for the average average homeowner, it can be quite a bit.
It's something we don't normally do. Again, just
Well,
it's
let-
well,
let-
again, I'll let other commission members go out there, take a look. I'm going to ask Lauren, if you're listening, if you have a chance to, I was going to say, I'm trying to think of, is there an electronic file where people
Search
can
the
look through?
files. Yeah, I can
Yeah, I
check
don't
our
know if
files
it's,
electronic and the hard copies and see if I can find anything on that.
yeah, just just to give them some of the history of the project, and then we'll try to schedule the site visit and just let people go take a look for themselves.
Sure.
Because again, like I said, to the ones to the right of the property, I think the commission itself was very comfortable that was intermittent. If anything, I think it was dry when we had looked. I think it had more to do with the river and the stream in the back and where that went, where the stream channel was. I know there were lots of questions about where the stream channel lay, what the center of the whatever riverfront area should be. And again, this is going from memory, so I apologize if I'm off a bit on any of it. It should still all be in the public meetings and in all the files as well.
Okay.
So I can reach out to you tomorrow, Margaret, to
Sure.
schedule a site visit. One other thing I just wanted to point out too is that you had mentioned the 225 riverfront area. Our bylaws were recently updated, so we do have the 30-foot no disturb zone from the BVW and the 225-foot riverfront area as well. So if that could be included on the plan, that would be
Sure.
helpful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you. Like I said, we'll be in touch to schedule that site visit, and we'll just keep moving forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right. So that said, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 443 Still River Road till our next public meeting, Tuesday, October 7th at 7:20 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Sam,
Hi.
and Lauren. I'm an aye as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Lori Stevenson,
That's okay. Aye.
and Lauren. I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
All right. It looks like Janet Johnson is here.
I am.
Hi. I think next
You're
up we
done
had
with us,
a
Brian?
discussion about Fawn Hill with Miss Johnson. Go ahead. Do you want to explain why you came in tonight, or what you want to talk about regarding Vaughn?
Sure. I bought this house in 2002, and a lot of the reason I bought it was because of Von Hill and knowing that it would be a great place to go for a great walk and get me out and walking all the time. And I've done that for quite a few years, but in the last like 6 or 8 years, I'm not sure, maybe 6 years, there's two things that I see happening. One is that the trails have been devastated. They're just terrible and because of bikers. And the other thing is that there's no wildlife there anymore. I used to be able to go up there in the wintertime. I did a class once. We saw tracks of fox, coyote, mink, even. And now I can find a few deer tracks up there in the snow, but that's it. And not even a squirrel. I have more wildlife in my backyard. And I see two things going on. When I first started going up there, there were signs as you entered the Von Hill. One that said, animals it can be on the path if under verbal control, otherwise on leash. And then there was another sign that said no snowmobiles. And eventually, I think there might have been a sign that said no bikes, but I can't quite remember. In the meantime, now there's been bikes in there, and it's I don't feel the least bit safe walking up there anymore because it's just so treacherous because you can't walk down the path and look around. You have to keep your eye on the path because there's so many rocks and roots sticking up. And I've kind of looked into this a little bit, and I saw one place, and it said that what happens is that you get a bike in there, especially when it's wet. Oh yes, there was a sign out there. It said bikes allowed when the trails are dry. Well, you go up this spring, we had rain for a month, and every time I went up there, there were puddles with bike trails in it, and I'm reading up on this a bit. The they explained that what happens is that there's loose soil on a trail, and if it rains, it kind of loosens. The water gets absorbed. It gets muddy, and a bike goes through there, and digs it up, and then there's water that runs through. So you end up with, instead of having a flat trail, you have an obstacle course basically. So I don't know if there's anything you can do to repair those trails. I think it's really hard to do.
It is. Yeah, and we'd have to take a look at Vaughn. Vaughn might be big enough too. Generally speaking, there is a way to, it's not so much, I forget what they call it, when you're basically rebrushing a trail where you go through once or twice a year and you kind of push some of the leaves and understory and brush back onto the trail to let it kind of rot there over the winter, and thus to kind of slow down that erosion on the trail. But that can be difficult. A lot of places, people don't really understand what might be going on there, and they end up just brushing it off the trail as they go.
Yeah.
People have taken leaf blowers and blown it off the trail when we've tried that here in places in Massachusetts, I should say, at least. The other option, which is one that we can do, and we've talked about kind of looking into, it's changing the trail every so often. And it's not something you do like, every couple of years or whatnot, but it's one of those once every decade and a half or so. Even on trails where bikes are not allowed, we have the same thing. The older established trails, they're beat down, the roots are exposed, rocks are exposed, and it's just that it's had so much use over the years. And it's always that one cleared trail that we send everybody down, right? Horses, bikes, pedestrians, dogs, you name it. Everybody goes down this one trail, and it just winnows down over time. Not uncommon. I hike a lot of the national parks. You're going to see this kind of everywhere. The only thing you can really do is at some point to shut down a section of the trail and kind of reroute it to a different area and kind of let that older section completely regrow and basically beat down a new section of trail, which can have its drawbacks as well. It's a very difficult problem for us to know exactly what to do as trails wear down more over time. The one thing that you had mentioned too was, we did used to have signage up about not riding in muddy conditions, that, trail riding was only allowed in dry conditions. And I was noting it's probably time for us to at least refresh those signs.
They're gone. They've been gone for years.
Right, as things, and we've noticed the signs on other places have disappeared, that it's probably time to go back out, make sure those signs are back in place, and and as clear as possible. But other than that, I'm not sure what our best recourse could be, or other options could be. I'm always open to hear suggestions. And I'd love to open it up to members of the commission too, if anybody has any initial thoughts or comments or suggestions on what we might be able to do.
I do have suggestions.
Please go ahead.
I've also hiked in the White Mountains, and the trails up there are in much better shape. And I checked on it, and they do not allow bikes on their trails. And what they have said too is that their policy is that if bicyclists want to, or mountain bikers, whatever, want to have a trail, they can work with them to create their a trail for specifically for bikers, rather than using the pedestrian trails. But nobody has shown any interest in doing that so far. So that's kind of interesting to look at, you know.
Yeah, but again, then we'd be running two trail systems, which is something again I could see proposing and putting out to others, but it's something personal. And again, I hike a lot in the White Mountains as well. Um, I've walked over some very, very worn trails in the White Mountains, and I'm an avid hiker. I've hiked the Whites a lot, and it sounds like you have as well. Um, that I guess that would be my concern with that. Like, I'd hate to cut two trail. Like, our town parks are not overly huge. Having a separate trail system for bikes and pedestrians, we're cutting through more woods that we'd rather just like to leave as woods. Um, I'm curious if there are like certain sections of the trail where it would make sense to divert, pedestrian traffic and a bike traffic. Um, I'm trying to picture Vaughn. I'm trying to think if there's some place that would make sense where we could try to keep a certain area that's look just pedestrians here, for a quarter mile, half a mile part of the trail, and have a bike cut around on it or something along those lines. But I'd just be nervous about cutting more trails. I don't think the pedestrian trails would necessarily come back to life. I think we'd just have two sets of
I agree
frontage.
with you. I agree.
But again, I really appreciate you thinking about this and putting these things out there. Like if you have other thoughts, please.
Well, I do have other thoughts.
Yeah,
One
please.
is that my car mechanic said to me, "Oh, you live up near Vaughan Hill." He said, "That's the go-to place for biking." And I started to realize, I think it's because of that big rock on the west side of the pond. If you can see that, there's kind of a muddy trail that you can take into almost into the water, or you can climb up over this rock, and there are a few people that would choose in the past that would choose that. Well, I think that was what the thrill was for bikers, I'm guessing. And I thought, gee, there's that trail is pretty narrow at the top of that rock. And I thought, gee, if you went off the side of that, but then I thought, there were some blueberry bushes, kind of growing on the side of the rock. And I thought, well, I guess those blueberry bushes would keep you from that, 9-foot drop or whatever it is. But now I've noticed that the blueberry bushes are gone. Obviously enough, I'm guessing, I shouldn't say obviously, I'm guessing that enough bikes went over the side of that rock that they pulled out the blueberry bushes, and I don't see bikes up there very much anymore. I guess I do see trails. We had like the month of June was rain. Was it June that was rain almost every day? And I go up there 3 times a week, and every time there were bike tracks in the puddles. But I'm not, I've seen evidence of people being there, but I'm not seeing as many bikes up there. I think maybe because that rock has become too dangerous for biking. So the other, I guess, I don't know what else to do to fix it. I just am really sad because that was my exercise, was going up there, and I just don't feel safe anymore.
It's a beautiful place too. It really is.
Yes.
Again, it probably doesn't hearten you much, but I would say that we will at least try to take a look at refreshing those signs and getting those back
Yeah.
up.
I'd be glad to
I
do that if you need
I'm due
help.
for a nice hike at Vaughan too. I want to go take a look up around that rock too. And if we're seeing, evidence of things getting eroded away that in an unnatural way, maybe it's putting up some temporary things in certain
Yeah.
areas saying, attention bike riders, stay on the path. Reminder, if it's wet, walk it out, and just trying to educate more. That's another thing too. It's difficult to say, to ask like Bolton Police Department, oh, make sure you go monitor the trails, who's watching to see, if this is happening. That I'd almost rather try to educate and, just let the people know that are taking bikes, hey, this is why we're asking you not to go here, or this is why we're saying when it's wet, like this causes a problem, like come back another day.
Notice the held, I'm sorry. I
No,
noticed
no, I was going to say, just
property
to try to address that way. Go ahead.
the held property is now, they have put signs up, please let the, we're allowing the trails to recover, something to that effect, and
Yeah.
please no hikers. They don't seem to be so badly damaged.
Most people I found will respect those, but it's just one or two that don't, that really destroys it. But we can try, to
Can I ask,
bolster our efforts along those lines. I'm
how,
trying to think.
how
Go
big
ahead.
is this trail? How big of a project is this?
Oh God, do we know the square footage? Wow. The acreage of Mont
270
Hills.
acres.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, is that the entirety of the trail, but like the specific area that she's talking about? Or is it the entire trail?
I would venture to guess just by the popularity, it's probably the majority of that trail.
Oh, because I would say if it was something, if there were like specific areas, I don't know if that's something like a good project for like an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, I would say it's everywhere, but that's the worst of it, is up around the pond.
Take a look, because we
Mhm.
do have, and for Ms. Lopez, we do have a very active trails committee in town. They're wonderful at maintaining the trails and trying to take care of them. So generally, and I know they're up in Vaughan a lot. So I'm curious their take, because they might have an idea of some of those areas, Jen, that might need a little bit more attention, or where it's getting more ridership than walkership.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jot that down to check with them.
I'd be happy to do something if there's something that can be done too. But I don't, I just been reading up, and from what I can see, it's hard to fix.
It's very hard to fix. Yeah. Yeah, I know. And there's, we're always, that's why I said, if I'm always open to ideas, because we're always looking for decent solutions. Like I said, and I don't know if you've ever looked out like the Trails Committee website. They're very active, the Bolton Trails Committee, and they're very responsive. I've always found if somebody's like, there's a tree down, or there's some bad erosion on such and such a trail, like they'll get people out there, they'll deal with it. They're an incredible group of volunteers. And Lauren, I was going to say, Lauren has all their contact info. You can usually find their website. I think there's information on the town website too, but the Bolton Trails Committee are excellent. They'll have a lot of information on Vaughan Hill. They have all the maps. Any proposed trail changes that they'll do, they'll come before us, but usually they'll discuss it, put it out there. And they do a lot of maintenance parties as well.
Yeah, the other thing was I just wanted to mention quickly too is the dogs, and that I, I started I just started doing was it when I'd see people at the entry to the trail with their dogs still on leash. They get the dog out of the car, they put the leash on, and then they go 100 feet down the trail, and then they let the dog run, right? I started saying to people as soon as when I could catch them there at the entry, I'd say, "Oh, thank you for having your dog on leash. I much appreciated. There's the wildlife is gone." And one person who's actually my neighbor, he said, "Oh, yeah, it is." He said, "My dog used to love to chase the squirrels and run around." And I said, "Well, if you have a den of a fox den of kits up on the hillside there, and there's dogs running around, they're not going to survive."
Yeah.
And basically the wildlife is gone also. There's just there's no, you can't find a fox. You can't even find a squirrel up there anymore.
That's
So
unfortunate.
anyway, that's all
No, I appreciate it. And we should, again, we should look at our dog signage too. I mean, I think we might just need a full refresh, trying to put that stuff out there because again, technically speaking, there are no leash laws in town, but on conservation property, the animal says your dog must stay on the trails and be under voice control, if not on leash. And you must always at least be carrying a leash, even if the dog is not on leash. And again, we post these things. It's difficult to monitor who's actually paying attention to them. But at least again, if we can try to repost, re-educate, kind of put it out there. I'm always looking for solutions on that as well. Especially when we talk Bowers Springs, oh my gosh, which is not a dog park, even though people refer to it as such.
Yeah. I kind of wonder about the possibility of having a dog park as a donation, that's designed. This is where
for,
yeah.
Specifically, please bring them here.
Yeah.
That would be the other, and again, we're limited to the amount of conservation property we have. But I know on, some properties we don't have any trails or anything. It's completely conservation. Generally speaking, we've always opened things up to passive recreation, right? So basically non-motorized bikes, walking, horses. But it might be something going forward, especially hearing you talk about Vaughan, that going forward, if we bring another conservation property online or are able to extend an existing one, to look at maybe limiting bike use on certain properties, to say that we have 2 or 3 that are walking only, we have 2 or 3 that are, bikes, horses, and walking permitted. It might be something to consider going forward.
Mm.
All right.
Thank you.
No, you're quite welcome. Thanks for coming in. And again, appreciate, any ideas you have, if you want to email them to us, please do. Always looking for something that's workable, and appreciate that you care and that you use Vaughan Hills. I haven't been out to Vaughan in I had probably like 6 months or so. And now I'm like, I should go hike Vaughan. I haven't been out there in forever.
Yeah. Well, let me know if there's something I can do. And I'd be glad to do posters or whatever.
Oh, that's excellent.
So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. All right. So, Lauren.
Yes.
So, I was going to say, I was looking at enforcement order updates, and I know there is somewhat of an update on 715 Main Street. Can you walk us through, or lack of an update?
Yes, the enforcement order asked, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, 1 minute. I just need to plug in my computer. I think my battery's dying. Sorry.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry.
Sorry about that. For 715 Main Street, the enforcement order asked that they submit a restoration plan by 9/18, which is this Thursday. We have not received one yet. I will be sending out a reminder letter to them tomorrow, just asking for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
I know we have not heard back from 30 North Road. I know we were trying to set up a site visit date with Matt Morrow. We're still basically waiting to hear back from him.
Yes. So I had sent out a couple emails looking to schedule a site visit. My emails had gone to his spam mail. And when I responded, I don't know if the new messages also went to his spam mail. So we've been having difficulties scheduling that site visit.
Okay. We will stay tuned. I don't think that there are any significant updates to the Forest Legacy Program. Trail Stewardship is authorized projects. Again, no significant movement. some are ongoing. Our volunteer land steward position still available and still a spot on the Conservation Commission for any Bolton resident who is interested in possibly joining. All right. That said, Rebecca, my bad, Lauren.
Yes.
Is there anything that I missed from our agenda this evening, with the exception of executive session?
No, I think we covered everything.
Okay. In that case, commission members, any new business, anything you would like to discuss or see added to a future agenda?
I have a quick question about that site that's next to this center of town across from Kitchen Sink. Did we ever establish if that driveway is asphalt or if it is crushed stone?
So that
Asphalt.
was, yes. So I actually met with the applicant in discussing the enforcement order with him as well. So they do anticipate submitting an amended order of conditions, sorry, notice of intent. And in discussions with him, he noted that there was kind of a conflict in plans that were accepted during the original order of conditions. So the septic system did approve pavement over that area, and then the restoration plan said permeable gravel. So there is a conflict there. And I advised him that when he comes forward with his requested amendments, that he should incorporate that into that as well, so the commission can have that conversation then.
Interesting.
make
Thank you
sense?
for taking that down, Lauren. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Good catch, I think, Jim.
Yeah, Lori started too.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, new business? All right, seeing none. All right, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now adjourn its public.
Sorry, Brian.
Go
Before
ahead.
you adjourn, and before we go into the executive session, we have to vote on the executive session meeting minutes. And I think Jim may need to recuse himself as well.
Yep. All right. So, all right, let me do that first. So, this would be the first time since I've been chair that we've actually gone into executive session. So minutes will be kept for executive session, but they're not necessarily released right away. But somebody would need to approve those minutes. And it sounds like the way other committees have done it, other towns have done it, is the commission empowers the chair to approve the minutes for the executive session. Does that
at a later date?
At a later date, yeah. Does that make sense? Is that something people are comfortable with? It seems like this is how it's handled, again, in other committees or other municipalities. Okay. In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote for the commission to authorize the chair to approve meeting minutes for the executive session at a later date and time. All those in favor, please say aye, starting with Paul.
Aye.
All right, Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Abstain.
Sam.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
And Lori.
Oh, God,
Aye.
I'm sorry, Lori Stevenson.
That's okay. Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So, at this point, the commission is probably going to adjourn the public session of our meeting this evening and enter into an executive session. Before I call for a vote on that, Jim Garrity, is there anything you would like to say?
Yes, as an abutter, I will abstain from any discussions, and I will also adjourn from the meeting. I will not participate in the meeting. I will be logging off call.
Okay, thank you, sir. But before you do, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the public section of the Tuesday, September 16th, 2025 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second for adjourning and entering into executive session?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Brian, I think we will need to open the executive session, reading what's written on the agenda, pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A. So to read out that whole section, just saying what it's pursuant to.
I got you. So, I'm sorry, you had said where it was written exactly.
So, yep. If you look at the annotated or the agenda, it's under the enforcement orders.
Getting there.
And one administrative item, this is not supposed to be recorded. Is that correct?
Correct. I think we need to read this part publicly and then we
Okay.
will stop the recording.
Okay. So, and am I calling to order an executive session?
Yes, I believe so.
All right. So at this point in time, I would like to call to the Bolton Conservation Commission into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 3, for discussion regarding 21 Century Mill LLC versus the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission, to conduct strategy with respect to litigation, and to accept executive session minutes if need be. Right.
All right. So I will stop the recording here and remove anyone who is not part of the commission at this point.
Recording stopped.
I see that Kara Pillow of Bolton Access TV is still here. Kara, are you able to, I don't know if she's present. We'll need you to leave before we can begin the executive session.
Are you as the host able to remove her?
I was trying to. Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Not sure why.